Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Liga Virtual F1. My name is Kieran Wright, and we are here at the ever historic Imola circuit here for round 13 of the LVF1 F1 2020 Championships. I am joined in the broadcast box by the ever knowledgeable Charles Godet, who may be chiming in every now and again. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. It's a very
How are
good
you
morning.
today?
We are at
Yes.
Imola, so it's a very good morning.
It's a very, very good morning indeed. The sun is shining, the birds are tweeting, and we're hopefully going to get some very, very good racing action here in the LVF1 Championship. Potential 31 laps on deck for today's race around the very historic 4.9 kilometer, 3.05 mile track here at the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari in Imola. We are moments away from our qualifying session here. So hopefully we will be able to get the wonderful cars out on track very, very shortly and get you some commentary to, when I can speak, get you some commentary on deck, get you some top quality racing, and get you an insight as to what we could see for the race later on.
Disconnected.
As we did say, we are here at Imola. It is a very, very historic circuit. 19 corners, of course, around this wonderful, wonderful historic circuit, which hasn't really been used in the normal Formula One calendar for many, many years, apart from obviously the last two real life seasons where we have had the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. So it should be very, very interesting to see what we are able to get from these cars today. We've, of course, got 9 turns to the right, 10 to the left here at the Enzo Edino Ferrari, Autodromo, sorry, Enzo Edino Ferrari. Most overtaking opportunities, those who may not be particularly au fait with this circuit, will mainly be into the turn, on the run up to the turn 2-3 chicane, known as the Variante Tamburello, or up into turn 7, which is the tight hairpin of Tosa. So expect to see a lot of wheel-to-wheel action there from the drivers. Be very, very interesting to see whether P. Rodriguez C will be able to maintain the lead that they have currently on the at the head of the drivers' championship. Currently leading by 5 points. It'll be very, very interesting to see whether he is going to be able to extend that lead that he does currently have. Just been told by the wonderful admins of the league here. We have 7 minutes until qualifying, 7 minutes away from qualifying, starting at 11 o'clock UK time. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful day. Wonderful morning, I should say, so far, as it is quite early here in the UK, where I am currently based. But it should be good. As I say, round 13 of 17. We have got 5 races left in the LVF1 season. This season, very, very interesting to see how things go. Of course, we have got the Red Bull team as well, leading the way in the constructors' standings with a nice, comfortable 21-point gap to the Ferrari team behind them in second. That should be very, very good to see how things go and see what we're able to get in terms of action this morning. Five minutes out from qualifying now. You did see the last few of the cars just finishing off their practice session before we get into qualifying. See a couple of the cars coming around a few of the turns now. give you guys a little bit of a look as to what is happening around this world famous circuit. To be looking out for is definitely going to be the guys up at the top in P. Rodriguez C and Offsprach. The guys that are, for want of a better term, potentially running away with the Drivers' Championship battle. Those two drivers obviously separated by only 5 points, with a 47-point gap from Offsprach to Sete in third place. But actually, around a circuit like this, anything could happen. In Formula One, as a very wise man once said, anything could happen in Formula One, and it most likely will. We are now coming into the final 3 minutes of the practice session that you can see the drivers currently driving around on screen. Then we're moving into our qualifying session here at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And then, of course, we have 31 laps of racing action, wheel to wheel, with these very, very talented drivers to find out who's going to come out on top, who is going to be the person that takes the checker flag and gives those all-important championship points. I will very briefly bring Charles in. Charles, of course, you are slightly more experienced in the world of LVF1 than myself. For someone who may be relatively new to joining and watching LVF1, who would you say are the drivers to look out for in this championship?
Well, P. Rodriguez C obviously is the championship leader. We know he's very fast. Unfortunately, he missed out on the last race because he was excluded for a one-race ban. Details of that I'm not going to go into. But basically, the entire grid is very competitive. The gap between first and last is not very big at all currently, and that's only in practice sessions where you'll most likely have a large number of people doing race practice runs on high fuel and low engine modes. Yeah, basically, it's going to be a good season as the race. Oh, we're going into the qualifying session now. It's just loading in.
Ooh, potentially a session restart. If you could, from the surprise in my voice, that wasn't something we were expecting there. So hopefully we are all good at the server end. Hopefully we haven't got too many worries. But looks like we are back, and we are going to be starting once again. P. Rodriguez looking to be the first one out. Miguel Angel just behind them. P. Rodriguez C getting another chance to run an outlap. Offsprach is also coming out. Jarasai is out as well. Fenno is out. Baroni Davide is out. So quite a few cars coming out now to start their outlaps as we prepare for the first few drivers to come through and start their flying laps. Lots and lots of cars now on that left-hand side of the screen, all coming out and getting ready to start this qualifying session. Watching as Carlos Fenno comes around the Piratella. Very, very nice line there through turn 9. A sweeping corner there through the Variante. We come to the Variante Alta chicane, which, as I did say, is the turn where we did unfortunately lose Yuki Tsunoda in the actual F1. Coming down the hill now towards the Ravazzas is Carlos Feno. Moves across to the right-hand side to get the optimum braking line and the ideal racing line through Ravazza 1 and 2. DRS open there in that Red Bull as we come up to the line for Carlos Feno to start his flying lap here in Imola. 13 minutes or so left in qualifying. Going up to the Variante Tamburello chicane. Very, very nice line there through the chicane there as we come up to the Variante Villeneuve now. The second of the chicanes here in Imola. It's a little bit wide on the outside of the exit there. Hopefully that doesn't jeopardize the lap too much there. Around the hairpin of Tosa. Up now towards the sweeping left-hander of Piratella. Trying to make sure you keep that car inside those rumble strips, because that will very, very quickly damage your lap. Through Acqua Minerale there goes Carlos Feno up to the Variante Alta now. It's a little bit wide on exit again. Looks to be a little bit of smoke ahead there. I think someone potentially having a little bit of an issue. Hopefully it's nothing too major and it's just locking up of tyres. So through the Ravazzas now goes Carlos Feno. I want to be on the run up to the line now. DRS wide open. P. Rodriguez C hits the first lap time of 1:14.7. What are we going to be getting from Carlos Feno? Crosses the line in a 13:053. Carlos Feno currently P1 with a very, very fast lap time there. See some of the guys already setting lap times there. P. Rodriguez C in second. Offspray in third. Miguel Angel currently in fourth, and Baroni David in P5 so far. We will ride on board with Miguel Angel, wondering whether that first lap was a little bit of a banker by that Racing Point driver. Just wanted to make sure that they get that lap time set in first. Very, very nice line there through the Piratella. Coming up now towards Acqua Minerale. Again, very, very nice line there. Giuseppe goes second, and Jarosai coming into P5 as it stands. Miguel Angel looking pretty decent in terms of lap time. He's going to improve. There is going to be quite a large improvement on that previous lap time set by the Racing Point driver. We're coming through the Ravazzas now. Little bit of a twitch there as they come out of the exit of Ravazza 1 into Ravazza 2, but is able to hold it pretty well. Run up to the line now, coming and across the line with a time of 1 minute 19.3. We'll keep Miguel in P10. And Giuseppe in the AlphaTauri now. And we have Jarosai in the Ferrari. Of course, the man to beat at the moment is still Feno. Carlos Feno, man in the Red Bull, currently top of the time history is a 1:13.053. Very, very strong lap time from that driver there. Watching Jarosai now on the run up to the line. This does look to be a little bit slower than the previous lap time that they have set. There won't be an improvement on lap time there, unfortunately, by that Ferrari driver. So he's going to come into the pits now and look to reset and go again a little bit later on in this qualifying session. As we have Mugen looking to potentially run that George Russell line in the run up to the Variante Tamburello chicane there. Thankfully there's no Mercedes alongside to wreck any races there. Robin Schoof in the Renault coming through that coming through the second chicane there. The Variante Villeneuve up to the long sweep, well, the relatively tight left hairpin of Tosa. Now the run up to Piratella, which is the world famous turn 9 here. Got to be very, very careful. You don't go too wide on those rumble strips, because that can result in a track limits violation here. You don't want to run those. You don't want to run those curves too much around this wonderful historic circuit. Into Variante Alta now comes Robin Schoof. Very, very nice line there. Had to fight the car a little bit on exit, but was able to hold it pretty well. And now coming through the Ravazzas as Jimenez goes P5. Robin Schoof running a little bit wide there on the exit, of Ravazza 1. on the run up to the 9 line now. What is Robin Schiff going to be able to do in the Renault? Comes across the line. And that could be a very, very fast lap time there for Robin Schiff. Number 116, so it's enough for P11 as it stands. But we have got 2 qualifying sessions, so we've got the main qualifying session here. It will then be followed by a top 10 shootout. Who gets the main positions in the, well, for the grid when we go racing. 8 minutes left in qualifying. Giuseppe with a 1:14 for P7 at the moment. P. Rodriguez now coming and hitting that DRS zone. It's going to look for the run up to the line now, hugging the inside wall as much as you can to that pit lane. Cut off any potential dirty air that may potentially be there. A 1:39.8 there from P. Rodriguez. Improves his time, but it's not enough to get them to the top of the timing screens just yet. Offsprat in the Ferrari now, coming up to the Variante Alta. It's 14 and 15 here in Imola. And running a little bit wide onto the rumble strips there. Hopefully nothing too major. As we have their speed now coming through those same turns. The Bezos speed in the Alpha into the Ravazzas. Quite a few of these cars running slightly wider than would be expected into Ravazza 1, but of course it will enable them to get a better line into Ravazza 2. So as we cross the line, there is a 14.4 by Cabeza speed, enough for P5. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. That's probably going to be drivers getting ready to reset and put themselves back into their pit boxes, ready to go again. Coming into the last 6.5 minutes here of this first qualifying session here. We are with Mugen in the Williams. Coming up now with the DRS wide open, potentially getting a tow from his teammate. On the run up to the line now, crosses the line, a 1:15.5. Not enough to improve, moves them up, sorry, to P11. Ahead of Jeff there. But still, Carlos Fenno is definitely the man to be beating at the moment in this qualifying session. I just hope he hasn't shown his hand a little bit too early in this qualifying session. Osprey on the run up to the line now, again hugging that inside wall as much as possible. 14.2 puts Osprey into P4 and immediately jumps into the pits to potentially reset and go again. Giuseppe into the Aqua Minerale here. On the run now to the Variante Alta to finish off sector 2. Been very, very strong here by Giuseppe as he comes down now. They are up on their previous time, currently sitting in P8. 8th position here for the AlphaTauri driver. They are, I think that's 3/10 potentially, up on their current just lap time. On the run up to the line now, Giuseppe coming through. We're going to break the timing beam now. A 1:14.479 for Giuseppe, moves them up to P6. Go to the other AlphaTauri now of Ivan O, coming through the Ravazzas. On the run now up to the line with that DRS wide open again. Like most of these drivers, in fact, decides to not hug the inside wall too much there. Across the line, 1:14.7. P9 for that AlphaTauri driver. Robin Schiff now coming in to potentially finish a lap time themselves. Currently in P11. Are they going to be able to improve? They do improve. They improve by 1 position up into P10. But we now have Adrian Jimenez. A 1:14.2 moves him up to P4. Very, very good lap time there by the McLaren driver of Adrian Jimenez. He immediately jumps into the pits, potentially reset and get ready for another lap. Baroni Davide coming through now for the Alfa Romeo team, taking Ravazza 2. A lot of drivers taking that wide line on the exit of Ravazza. On the run up to the line now, Baroni Davide crosses the line at 1:16.4. P14 for the Alfa Romeo driver. So the drivers that we were told to look out for, and P. Rodriguez, the current championship leader, sitting in P2. in this first qualifying session, potentially holding a little bit back from Carlos Fenner, not wanting to show his entire hand just yet, but I'm sure we will see much faster lap times in the next qualifying session. As I say, that compared to speed goes into P2 with a fantastic lap there, 6/10 away from Carlos Fenner as it stands. He now jumps into the pits. Only Davide coming through now on the run up to the Variante Alta, the last chicane here in Imola. Trying to make sure he keeps that car within those rumble strips, is able to do so. We are into the last 3 minutes here of this first qualifying session. Again, up on their time. Could be a very, very good lap time here for Baroni Davide, currently in 14th place for the Alfa Romeo team. Are they going to be able to get themselves up into the top 10 here? Which line are they going to decide to take? Waiting for the second part to potentially get close to the pit wall. 1:22.3, unfortunately not improving their time too much there. It just keeps them in P14, and they jump into the pits. Now approaching the final 2 minutes of this qualifying session. Ivano in the AlphaTauri coming through Acqua Minerale, very, very wide on the exit of Acqua Minerale there though. You've got to be very, very careful taking those lines, because that could end up hurting you, especially through there. If you get that wrong through a Variante Alta, you could very easily end up into a wall, and that could very quickly end your race, and that is obviously not what you want, especially with the championship as competitive as it is here in LVF1. I've been coming up now to cross the line, 1:14.2 up for P5 there to Ivano. Mugen coming across the line now, setting a 1:15.0. That's P10 for the Williams car there. Let's see what Jeff can do. Mugen's teammate obviously in the other Williams car. Is Jeff gonna be able to potentially improve? We've got a car that's a little bit sideways going into Ravazza 2 there. Hopefully whoever that is able to sort themselves out quickly. I think it may have actually been that Alfa Romeo there of Baroni Davide. We'll see. Yeah, it's quite a slow lap time there from Baroni Davide, so I think they may have had a little bit of an issue coming through the Ravazzas there. Hopefully not too bad. Jarosai moves up into P10. Into the final minute now of this qualifying session. These drivers are going to have to try to push everything they possibly can out of these cars to see if they are able to get themselves into this top 10 shootout. They're coming around Piratella now. Running very wide on the exit there, though, coming the wrong side of those rumble strips. It will make you faster, but it could also potentially give you a track limit warning by the race stewards. And that is not what you're going to want to have, as Baroni Davide is looking to throw the lap away. Don't think they're going to be improving. The checker flag has dropped, so that is the end of this qualifying session here, the first part of this qualifying session. It looks like the drivers we could potentially be losing are Mugen, Robin Shu, Danny, Jeff, Baroni Davide, and Miguel Angel. Davide the only one out on track, currently on a lap, but as we know, Baroni Davide has been quite slowly, so expect him to come into the pits, which is what he does as Offsprat comes around the final corner now on the run up to the line. Offsprat crosses the line, goes P5, 1:14.0. and jumps into the pit. So I've got a couple of cars left on track in Asete and Giuseppe. We'll just wait for these cars to finish their laps, and then that will bring us to the end of the first qualifying session here. There is Asete coming around the final Rivazza now on the run up to the line, going to stay very close to that inside wall there. 1:12.8 is the time to beat. So 1:14.2 from Asete moves them up into P6. That was the last car left to set a lap time in this first qualifying session. Asete will just pull off to the side, pit escape and jump back into the pits. So that should now bring us to the end of our first qualifying session. Drivers we have lost. The drivers we have lost are Mugen, Robin Schoof, Danny Owen, Jeff, Baroni Davide, and Miguel Angel. Thank you, John. So potentially some penalties being handed out for drivers. We will wait for confirmation on that, but there could be some movers and shakers across the grid come the race start here in Imola. So that does bring us to the end of the first qualifying session here. Just preparing now for the top 10 shootout here at the Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio del Made in Italy e dell'Emilia Romagna from the historic Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari here in Imola. Back there from the admins for being able to complete a little challenge that was set to me before we started commentary today. So it will be coming through now. Carlos Fenno out on track. We've got quite a few drivers out on track. The only one that's not yet is Jarosai in P10. Charles, to confirm, this is the top 10 shootout. The only car left of the top 10 shootout here to come out onto track is Jarosai, currently sitting in P10 for the Ferrari team. But of course, we have got 9 minutes or so, just under, left in this Q3 top 10 shootout. We'll be riding with Carlos Fenno, the man who finished the first session at the top of the timing screens. Osprach now on the run down to the Ravazzas, but Carlos Fenno coming through now to start his first lap time here in Q3 through the Variante Tamburello chicane. A little bit of a twitch of oversteer on the exit there, but is able to hold it pretty well through the Variante Villeneuve now. Really trying to hug these curves, get as much as you potentially can out of this car. Around the left hairpin here of Tozar, turn 7, run up through turn 8, up to the sweeping left-hander turn 9 of Piratella. Very, very nice line there as we're coming through Acqua Minerale now. Very, very strong line there by the Red Bull driver on the run up to the Variante Alta now. Don't want to hug those curbs too much because a little bit wide on exit. Running now down the hill towards the Ravazzas. Obviously, we are going to be seeing purple sector times here from Carlos Fenno. We believe he is going to be the first person to set a lap time here. DRS is open now. Seto crosses the line first, a 1:13.6. Fenno crosses the line, a 1:12.7 for that Red Bull car. That puts him to the top of the timing screen, and I think that's going to be a very, very hard lap time to beat. Morete goes in there into P2. P. Rodriguez C comes in on P3. Very, very strong lap time there by the Racing Point there. Osprey in currently P5. As Ivan... Okay. Just found out that the lap time set by Carlos Feno will not be counting. There is going to be track limits, so that's going to be invalidated by the race stewards. That lap will not be counting. And compared to speed on the run up to the line now, 1:14.0. Currently puts him in P7 ahead of the Ferrari of Osprey. There is Osprey on an out lap. All 10 cars from our top 10 have now either already come out and set a lap or are on their way out to set laps. Now Jarosai moves into P9. So Jimenez is the only person left to set a lap time. With the exception of Carlos Feno, of course, who with that first lap time did get a track limit infringement. So will have to run again to potentially see if they can get themselves up onto pole position. Jarosai coming through. Toza on the run up to Piratella now here in turn 9 at Imola. Very, very nice line there. Keeps it between the curbs through the Acqua Minerale now. Comes Jarosai up towards the Variante Alta chicane now. The last chicane, the last real sort of tough corner here in Imola. And then it's just the two sweeping left-handers. Once we've come down the hill, the two Ravazzas, Ravazza 1 and 2. This version of the Lesmo corners that you will see at Imola, at Monza, of course. We are here at Imola, not at Monza. Jarosai running a little bit wide there on the exit of Ravazza 2, but on the run up to the line now, let's see what sort of lap time we're going to get from Jarosai. Jarosai crosses the line, a 1:14.7, enough for P9. Here is P. Rodriguez C. In the Mercedes, currently sitting in third place, coming through Acqua Minerale now. Running that curb a little bit wide on the exit there, but nothing too catastrophic. To the Variante Alta now, coming down the hill towards the Ravazzas. Braking a little bit early there is P. Rodriguez, making sure that he just tries to keep himself within those white lines. So I'm wondering whether the stewards have had a little chat with some of the drivers here and said you need to keep these cars within those white lines. But I'm sure that's a 1:16.2. That's definitely not going to be what P. Rodriguez wants as a full lap time. So that was probably a cool down lap, just to test lines and things like that. They did jump into pits and very quickly jump back out again. Jimenez moves into P9 ahead of Jarosai now. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's probably going to be someone jumping into the pits to sort themselves out. On board with Asete now, coming through the Variante Villeneuve up towards Toza. Very, very nice line through Toza there. The run up now to Piratella, currently in fourth place in the Red Bull. On the run down the hill now towards the Acqua Minerale. Well, potentially went a little bit sideways there, but was able to hold it pretty well on the run up to the Variante Alta now. Turning in quite early there for the first part of that chicane, and I think that is going to wreck that lap. Asete jumps into the pits, knowing they're not going to be able to improve on that lap time following the Variante Alta incident there. Cabeza Speed, same thing, jumping into the pits. Carlos Fenya now, a bit of a moment there, run those sausage curbs a little bit too much through the Variante Alta, and that is going to affect his lap time. So it looks like we are going to have a reset there from Carlos Feno, just going slowly, looking to try and build up some clean air, not get stuck in any traffic with the drivers around them. We'll look for another run here, try and see if they can get themselves onto pole, because the pole lap time at the moment will not count, ladies and gents. It was an invalidated lap time for a track limits infringement by the Red Bull driver. But coming back out straight away, jumps into the pits, jumps straight back out again, does Carlos Feño in the Red Bull. 2 minutes left in qualifying before we get into the main race itself. Jarosai coming now through the Ravazzas. Ravazza 2 hits the DRS activation point. That rear wing will be wide open on that Ferrari on the run up to the line. Now Jarosai is going to cross the line. 1:14.7 unfortunately keeps them at P10. I think it may have been a slight improvement in lap time, but unfortunately not enough for Jarosai to move up the leaderboards just yet. The drivers who are currently in the pits, they want to set another lap time. They're going to have to be very, very quick and get out in time. Got a few seconds to be able to get out in time to be able to potentially set another lap time. Anyone who comes out now will not have enough time to set their hot laps. So the guys that you see out on track, everyone with the exception of Mugen, currently in P10, are going to be the guys that you are looking to set lap times. Jarosai coming up to the Variante Alta now. Again, runs wide through the second part of that chicane. That's going to wreck their lap time. So they are going to jump into the pits now. And that's going to be the end of Jarosai's qualifying session off Sprack. Jarosai's Ferrari teammate coming down towards the Ravazzas now. Ravazza 1 taken quite well there. Ravazza 2 keeping that car very, very controlled on the run up to the line. Now the DRS will be open. Is Osprey going to be able to improve the time they have previously set to 1:13.6? Doesn't improve their position on track. Osprey stays P6. Carlos Feño now coming through on track up towards the Variante Alta chicane. He has gone purple in sector 1, so we'll see as the checkered flag drops. That is going to be the end of qualifying here at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Imola, the San Marino Grand Prix. Carlos Feño coming around the final 2 turns now. The Ravazzas hits that DRS, and on the run up to the line now is Carlos Feño going to be able to get themselves up into a strong position. Ivan O, P5 as it stands. 1:12.746 by Carlos Feño again. They are interim P1. We'll wait for the race stewards just to confirm whether that is a legitimate lap time or not from Carlos Feño. Giuseppe coming down the hill now towards the Ravazzas. Through Ravazza 1 into Ravazza 2 comes Giuseppe. DRS zone wide open, coming on the run now to the finishing line. What sort of lap time are we going to be seeing from Giuseppe in the AlphaTauri? Crosses the line, 1:13.7, enough for P6 there. And that is the end of qualifying. As it stands, minus Ivan. Does bring us to the end of qualifying here in Imola. With 5 races to go, the gap at the top is only 5 points, and things are really starting to heat up. But there's still everything to play for, especially with the talented drivers on show here today. This round 13 of 17 in the LVF1 Championship season. From the very historic Imola circuit here in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. City where the most ancient remaining map was drawn by Mr. Leonardo da Vinci himself way back in 1502. A track steeped in history, bordering the Santerno River and located 70 kilometers away from the main Ferrari base in Maranello, and only 12 kilometers from the AlphaTauri's Faenza HQ. Welcome to the 2020 Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio del Made in Italy e dell'Emilia Romagna. We're here at the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, a 4.9 kilometer circuit consisting of 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left, with only one extended DRS zone from the exit of Ravazza 1 up to the Variante Tamburello chicane at turns 2 and 3. This is the San Marino Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting ready for 31 laps of action around this very, very world famous Imola circuit. The drivers are just finishing their warm-ups and then they will be lining up on the grid to get ready for today's action. It should be a very, very fun and exciting contest, an entertaining one for you guys at home to be able to watch. As we said, this is round 13 of 17 in the LVF1 Championships. My name is Kieran Wright. I am your lead commentator for today's race. I will be joined occasionally by the ever knowledgeable Charles G'day. So if you do hear another voice randomly jump into the stream, you know who it is. As we did say, we have got 19 turns here at this world famous circuit. 9 of them sweep to the right, 10 of them sweeping to the left. Expect quite a few overtakes up to on the run to the Variante Tamburello chicane of turns 2 and 3. That is our DRS zone, which is active pretty much from the exit of Ravazza 2, which is the last corner, the second of the two left-handers to end this lap. Expect to see lots of overtaking opportunities there, as well as on the runs up to the Variante Villeneuve and Tosa, which of course are turns 5, 6, and 7 here at Imola. So if we just wait for the drivers to finish off their warm-up laps, we will get ourselves underway very, very shortly on this May Day, Saturday morning. So happy 1st of May to everyone who is around this evening. And it's a very, very special day for me because it's my mother's birthday. So if you are watching this, Mum, happy birthday for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And just a cheap random plug for a member of my family, because why not? Fun things to do here whilst we're waiting for the drivers to get ready for the main race itself. We're just loading up the race session now, ladies and gents, so we will be jumping onto the grid very, very shortly and see how everyone lines up. We have got a couple of changes from the qualifying session that we have just have. Oh, no, sorry, my mistake. No changes to the lineup for the grid. So you see the drivers now. See the drivers lining up on the grid now. So we will be getting ready to get underway for 31 laps of racing. You see the drivers are loading in to their grid slots now. We will have our formation lap and then 31 laps of racing around this world famous circuit here in the Emilia Romagna region of Italy. This is the San Marino Grand Prix. Just letting the drivers get themselves sorted, get themselves ready, compose themselves before we get ready to go racing. You know, formation lap is now underway. Okay. See these drivers now preparing for today's race on the formation lap, just warming up their tyres, making sure everything is set up. We're going to have a quick look at the grid order in just a moment, ladies and gents. Here is your grid order for today's race. Carlos Feño on pole position, Moretti in the Racing Point in P2, P. Rodriguez C in third, Acete in the other Red Bull is in fourth place. In fifth, we have Ivanhoe in the AlphaTauri. Giuseppe, his teammate, is in P6. Offsprach in P7 for the Ferrari team, with Cabenza Speed in 8th for Alfa Romeo. Adrian Jimenez in the McLaren in 9th. Yarosai rounds out the top 10 with Mugen in 11th for Williams and Robin Schoof in 12th for the Renault team. Danny in the McLaren is in 13th. Jeff is 14th. Baroni Davide is 15th for Alfa Romeo, and Miguel Angel is in 16th for the Racing Point team. See the drivers now just doing these last few little warm-ups, last few weaves left and right, just to get as much temperature into those tyres they are possibly able to do so. Carlos Feño going very, very early here. Going to be sitting in his pit box for a little bit of time, as Miguel Angel in 16th place in that Racing Point, with the man bringing up the rear. So we just wait now for the drivers enter their pit boxes. We get underway for 31 laps of racing around this lovely, lovely Imola circuit. You see at the back of the screen there, just the last few drivers taking their grid spots now. And we will be getting ready for those world famous 5 red lights to go out and for us to get underway and go racing here. This is LVF1 round 13 from Imola, the Autodromo Enzo e Gino Ferrari in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. We are underway here. Very, very strong start there by the top 2 drivers there. Are we going to look to see any early moves? P. Rodriguez looked to potentially make a little move down the inside on P2, going through the Variante Tamburello chicane, not able to do it so far. We're going to see a lot of chops and changes through this opening lap or so. We'll let everything even itself out across the first couple of laps before we will have a look at the movers and shakers around this wonderful, wonderful circuit. The 2 AlphaTauri drivers are getting very, very close to each other, coming through down the hill now into the Acque Minerale. Very, very close racing here at this opening lap of this Imola Grand Prix, or San Marino Grand Prix, I should say, through the Variante Alta. Coming now down the hill towards the Ravazzas. AlphaTauri under a little bit of pressure here from one of the McLarens. We will see whether there are going to be any last-ditch moves made through the Ravazza corners here. None made just yet. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3 though, so hopefully it's nothing too dangerous. As that is the end of lap 1. 30 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. 1 down, 30 to go. As far as we're aware, Carlos Feño is still leading this Grand Prix, but we'll be having a look at the standings in just a moment. There we go. Carlos Feño is your leader. P. Rodriguez has made that move on Moretti, as we thought he did, into the Variante Tamburello chicane there at the start of the lap. Giuseppe into P4. Ivanhoe staying in P5. Jimenez in the McLaren in P6. As Cabenza Speed makes a move on Jeff for P11 there. Jimenez is P6, Offsprach in P7. We are on board with Robin Schoof at the moment, currently in P9, trying to hunt down that Ferrari of Garasai as the guys are coming through now to the Variante Alta. Robin Schoof not able to make a move just yet, but will look to potentially line up a move on that Ferrari coming down the hill into the Ravazzas. If not there, then it will be on the main straight. Brakes a little bit later than that Ferrari does, ever so slightly close the gap. Is Robin Schuf going to be able to get the best lap, the best exit now and the run on the Ferrari driver here of Yarosai? We are now on lap 3, coming up towards the Variante Tamburello. Looks to be a little bit of potential move there between Offsprack and him, and there's no move made yet though, as Danny moves up to P12, overtaking Jeff in that Williams car. You see the McLaren of Danny just ahead of Jeff here, coming through the Variante Villeneuve on the run up to Tosa now. Can Jeff potentially get a little bit of payback on Danny for getting that overtake? Not yet. Jeff in the Williams running a very, very nice line though, trying to keep as close as he possibly can to Danny in this McLaren as the drivers come through the Piratella. We are now with Cabenza Speed getting very, very close now to the rear of Mugen coming through Aqua Minerale. Cabenza Speed had to potentially take a little bit of avoiding action as to not end his own race. Got a little bit too close to that rear wing of the Williams there. Drivers now coming down the hill towards the Ravazzas. Cabenza Speed very, very close to the Williams. Could potentially look for an overtake down the inside. Has a little look on the inside. Decides against it though. Through Ravazza 1 and 2 now. We're going to be seeing Cabenza Speed with a lot more slipstream available to them now. We're going to pull off to the right hand side of the track as Ivan O makes a move on Giuseppe. Osprey makes a move to P6 over Jimenez. And has Cabenza Speed made that move? He has made that move. Stick with Mugen through up to P10 now for Cabenza Speed, and he will now be looking to try and see if he can hunt down Robin Schuf in that Renault, who is of course battling with Yarosai for P8, and has very quickly got himself onto the back of this battle between these two cars. Well, it's now 3 cars of course, with the addition to Cabenza as the drivers come through the Piratella now. Yarosai able to hold on to P8 for now. Aqua Minerale, you see the intermediate times there in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. 2 seconds the gap from Jimenez to Yarosai, 0.6 between Yarosai and Robin Schuf and Cabenza Speed within 3 seconds of that Renault. Again getting very, very close to that rear wing. Are we looking to potentially see a move into the Ravazzas here from the Alfa Romeo driver? Giuseppe into P4, having a lovely little battle with Ivan O further up the track. DRS is open now. It's a little bit of the DRS train starting to form. Yarosai could potentially be a sitting duck here for Robin Schuf. We will have a look though. There we go. Robin Schuf around the Ferrari of Yarosai, moves himself up into P8. Yarosai's teammate Osprey though up into P4 as it currently stands. Carlos Fenner still leads your Grand Prix with a very, very strong lead over P. Rodriguez C in the Mercedes. We're going to jump now to the AlphaTauri of Ivan O, who is trying to hunt down Offsprack, who has recently made an overtake on him. So he's going to look to try and see if he can regain that 4th place as the drivers come through the Aqua Minerale now. Very, very strong line there from Ivan O on the run up to the Variante Alta now. Looking to potentially set up a move. Those are the hashtags for the social media if you guys want to get involved. Hashtag rFactor2, hashtag LVF1 to get involved in the conversation. Interesting to see who you guys are supporting and who you guys think could be winning this Grand Prix. Looking at the gaps to the leader at the moment, I think there's only one name that could be on people's lips, and that is going to be Carlos Peña in the Red Bull. He's got to a very, very strong start here to the first 5 laps of racing around this Imola circuit as Asete looks for a move up the inside of Danny, makes that move very, very easily there. Asete moves up to P13 and will now be looking to hunt down the Williams of Jeff for P12, looking to try and get themselves up into the top 10 again. Very, very strong lines through the Variante Villeneuve there by Asete. Cars coming now through Tosa. I will say that Asete has been able to put a bit of a gap between himself and Danny very, very quickly as the drivers now come through the Piratella. And down the hill now towards the Aqua Minerale. Running up the hill now, up towards the Variante Alta. Of course, for those who watch the actual Imola Grand Prix will know that that's where Yuki Tsunoda ended up in a wall. So hopefully no one copies what Yuki Tsunoda did in Imola just a few weeks ago in the actual F1 calendar. Sete just within half a second now of Jeff. We look to see a move potentially be made here down the main straight as Sete pulls across to the left, going to go around the outside as Jeff hugs that inside wall. It's a very easy overtake there for Sete though, as Yarosai has dropped a couple of places to Cabenza Speed and Robin Schoof. This is your battle for P8. We are with Robin Schoof at the moment. Did get that move done on Yarosai. We're going to jump up to Adrian Jimenez now, who's very, very close to the rear of Offsprack here. Running down the hill now towards the Aqua Minerale. Now going to be running up the hill towards the Variante Alta. It's a very, very strong exit there by Adrian Jimenez. He's not going to make the move now. Expect the move to be made either into the Ravatas or down the main straight. Really pulling that gap now between the two cars. On that exit though, Offsprack really looking to pull away from that Ferrari. McLaren struggling to keep up with that Ferrari at the moment, but of course they will get DRS now. Going to jump back to Miguel Angel, looking to potentially make a move on Jeff in the Williams car. Miguel Angel's Racing Point, remember, starting off at the back of the grid, starting in P16, currently up to P14. With that DRS open, going to potentially look to make a move now. Moves down to the inside of Jeff. Makes a very, very nice, easy move there. In that Racing Point on the run up to the Variante Tamburello. They're using that DRS zone to full effect. But we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1, and Ivan O has dropped quite a few places there. Wondering whether a little bit of an incident there involving Ivan O. Ivan falling very, very quickly down the order here. Hopefully there's nothing too major with that AlphaTauri. We will look to potentially see if we can find out what is happening with that car. But Offsprack up to P4 now, going to be under pressure from Adrian Jimenez very, very shortly. We are looking at Offsprack's teammate though at the moment, Yarosai, in the middle of this massive DRS train involving 5 or 6 cars here. Got a funny feeling this DRS train runs all the way up to potentially Mugen in P9. So it could be a lot of chances for overtakes here, as Yarosai may have to defend on the inside from Danny. He did have a little look on the run down into Ravazza 1. Didn't make the move count there though. Robin Schoof loses the position to Cabenza Speed. Cabenza Speed up into P7 now for the Alfa Romeo team. Yarosai will ride on board with him now, so coming up through Offsprack even, sorry, not Yarosai, it's the other Ferrari. Trying to hunt down Giuseppe for P4 here on the run up, but he is under pressure from Adrian Jimenez. Is Adrian Jimenez going to look to move into Piratella? What a move by that McLaren driver of Adrian Jimenez. Moves himself up into P5. Very, very risky move, but risk equals reward here in LVF1. Adrian Jimenez moves himself up into P5 here in this Grand Prix. Gap between Carlos Fenio and Maretta is very, very strong. 8.5 seconds the lead at present on lap 10 of 31 here in Imola. Adrian Jimenez could potentially now start coming under pressure from Offsprack here in the Ferrari, but could also put that pressure on Giuseppe on the run up to the Variante Tamburello chicane. Makes the move. That is Adrian Jimenez up to P4. We're right on board with Offsprack, trying to see if he can make up for some lost time. This is the battle for fourth. You can see the intermediates in the bottom right hand corner of your screen on the stream here. Very, very close. With about a second separation, all three of these cars, maybe just over a second separation. But these three cars, if the cars come through Piratella now, Offsprack slightly falling off the pace from the other two cars. Hopefully we'll be able to get up there and catch them relatively quickly. Coming up the hill now towards the Varianti outer chicane. The last of the 3 chicanes here in Imola. I say 3 because technically the Varianti's Villeneuve is considered a chicane. Are 3 chicanes here. Used to be 4, but there is now 3. Giuseppe looking to possibly line up a move now on the DRS straight, but we'll have to keep an eye on his rear mirror as well, because of course you're going to have that Ferrari of Osprecht trying to see if he can make a move. But we have got Giuseppe pulling to the left hand side, makes a move up the inside of Jimenez. Giuseppe regains P4 there for the AlphaTauri team. Jimenez with a little bit of luck now. Adrian Jimenez to try and see if he can catch up. Mugen up to P8, making an overtake on Robin Schoof. As Ivan O looking to try and fight back from falling down the order. Now back into P13 with that overtake on Garasai further down the track. We will keep an eye on this battle though for P4. Smith and Giuseppe getting very, very close to each other through the Aqua Minerale. Now go these cars, carrying a lot of top speed here. Expect top speeds of about 304 kilometers an hour. Very, very fast track here at Imola. Running down the hill now towards the Ravazzas. We are on lap 11, lap 12 now of 31. Carlos Fenio has crossed the line to start lap 12 here in Imola. Osprecht getting a little bit closer now to Adrian Jimenez. Could potentially look to make a move. P. Rodriguez C up into P2 with the overtake on Marete. Adrian Jimenez looking to exchange positions once again with Giuseppe. Does so into the Tamburello chicane. Very, very nice move there by the McLaren driver. And of course the battling between these two drivers is opening the door for Osprecht to potentially come through. Mugen making a move on Robin Schoof. Those two drivers exchanging positions as well. We will jump with now the AlphaTauri of Giuseppe. Is he going to be able to potentially catch up to Adrian Jimenez and make a move back on that McLaren driver? These two cars have been exchanging positions in recent laps. One will take it one lap, the other will then overtake them on the run up to the Varianti Tamburello chicane of turns 2 and 3, the first of the 3 chicanes here. We're coming up to the last of those 3 chicanes now. The Varianti Alta drivers will now come down the hill towards the Ravazzas. Adrian Jimenez looking to pull away from Giuseppe, and I think potentially has got himself, not just yet, almost gets himself out of DRS range from Giuseppe. Marete makes the move on P. Rodriguez C to regain second place. I don't think Giuseppe is going to be close enough to make that move on Adrian Jimenez here, but he is gaining, coming into the Tamburello chicane, not close enough to make a move just yet. So we'll have to look to plan and make that move another time. But on the note of moves, Robin Schoof up the inside of Mugen to take P8 there. Very, very nice line there through the Tamburello chicane. Robin Schoof up to P8, and now Mugen's going to come under pressure from a Sete behind him. Not a move able to be made yet by the Red Bull driver, but it's very, very close to potentially making that move as these cars come through Tosa now on the run up to Piratella of turn 9. The slightly sweeping left right-hander here for turn 8. Into the long sweeping left-hander here of Piratella down the hill towards the Aqua Minerale. Turns 10 and 11 here. As Mugen has a little bit of a moment there. Sete has been able to make that move up through there. Sete moves up to P9. Jeff now going to stop. Jeff has also made an overtake on Mugen, following Mugen going very, very wide there into Aqua, on the exit, sorry, of Aqua Minerale. Carlos Fenio still leads the Grand Prix. P. Rodriguez C in second place. Marete in third. That is your podium as it stands. We're going to jump back to Adrian Jimenez and Giuseppe. Giuseppe did make that move on Jimenez on that run up to the Varianti Tamburello. As Mugen runs a little bit wide there. Makes that move though on his teammate, but goes very, very wide on exit Going to be on the grass. He's going to lose that position. In fact, loses 3 positions. Mugen down to P13 now. Overtaken once again by his teammate Jeff, by Ivano, and by Miguel Angel. Miguel Angel up to now P12, having started from the back of the grid. This is your battle for 7th. You can see it on screen there. Jeff is a couple of seconds away from Sete, so we'll see the battle for 10th on screen now. Looking to see whether Ivano can potentially make a move in that AlphaTauri. Make the move on Jeff and get himself up into P10 here. We are watching Miguel Angel, the man who started from the back of the grid for the Racing Point team, now up into P11. Oh, sorry, P12. Looking to hunt Carlos into the pits there, dropping down to 3rd. Morete takes the lead of this race. Potential switchback there by Miguel Angel. Getting very, very close to Ivano. Is he going to make the move around the outside into the Tamburello chicane? Not able to make that move stick though. Ivano able to regain, but loses traction on the exit of the chicane. Very, very close racing between these two drivers, but fantastic move there by Miguel Angel. Moves himself up into P11. What a bit of driving there for those two drivers, getting very, very close to each other. Surprised neither of those two drivers made contact. Very, very good, clean driving there. I have seen races done around this track where there have been big, big collisions when drivers get that close to each other. Nice to see. Nice, clean driving here, though, by the drivers in LVF1. That is Miguel Angel up to P11 now. We have got a yellow flag in Sector 2, but that is nothing too major. Watching now as Miguel Angel comes down the hill into the Revasses. We're going to jump up to a battle at the top of the race, though. Giuseppe makes the move on Adrian Jimenez. This is your battle for 4th place. Of course, you have got Offsprack in the background as well. Cabenza speed into the pits now, dropping down the order. Ivano makes that move on Miguel Angel. Ivano back up into P10 now. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Hopefully there's nothing too major. It was only a little yellow flag, so we should be all good. As we see Adrian Jimenez now coming down towards those are your pit stops. 3 drivers so far have completed their pit stops. Carlos Spano, Cabenza Speed, and Baroni Davide, the 3 drivers to come in. As Yarosai comes into the pits now from P15. So expect to see drivers start coming into the pits now. We're going to jump up to the racing point here of Miguel Angel, looking to try and regain 10th spot of Ivan O here. Looks for a little move potentially into the Variante Alta. Decides that discretion is the best part of valor. We have unfortunately lost Yarosai. Yarosai has unfortunately retired from the session in the pits. Carlos Feño sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Offsprack into the pits now. What else coming into the pits? We've got a few drivers coming into the pits now. Offsprack in the pits, Jeff in the pits, Robin Schoof in the pits, Ivan O coming into the pits now as well. So that will move Miguel Angel up into 7th position. Now trying to hunt down the Red Bull of Asete. He has got Mugen behind him, very, very close. Less than half a second is the gap between Mugen and Miguel Angel here. This is your battle for 7th place, technically 6th place, when you take into account the fact that Asete is just there, getting very, very close. Potentially being overtaken. Drivers come through the Piratella now down towards the Aqua Minerale. Very, very nice run here through the corners here by these drivers. Been looking to try and see if he can close up to the gap that is currently there between himself and Miguel Angel. The pit stop still on the left hand side of the screen, guys. Everyone from Offsprack down has pitted along with Carlos Feño. Morete does still lead your Grand Prix. Giuseppe and Jimenez switching positions once again. That's probably going to be an overtake up into the Variante Tamburello chicane. Again, turns 2 and 3, where these two drivers love to make overtakes. On the note of overtakes, we'll watch from Mugen's point of view as Miguel Angel goes around the outside of Asete into the Tamburello chicane. Not able to make the move though. Asete is able to get it back on exit. We are now riding with Danny in P10. Trying to hunt down Offsprat in the Ferrari, recently overtaken by the Dutch driver. Offsprat won obviously in P10. We're with Robin Schuf now, who has just exchanged positions with Ivan O, trying to look to potentially make a move on those hard tyres on Ivan O. Ivan O looking to try and pull away as quickly as he possibly can. Morete and P. Rodriguez see have swapped positions and wonder whether that means Morete may potentially be coming into the pits. Carlos Feño again goes even faster, 1:16.2 by that Red Bull driver. He is really trying to see if he can catch back up to those leaders. It was Robin Schuf now coming up towards the Variante Alta, looking to try and close that gap up to Ivan O in the Alpha Taurius. Mugen comes into the pits from P8, loses a couple of positions very, very early on. Just shows how close these cars were to each other. Offsprat makes the move on Miguel Angel, moves himself up to P7 now. We will have a look at Miguel Angel, who has just, as I say, been overtaken by Offsprat in the Ferrari. Mugen now down to P13, P14 following that pit stop. Of course, you have still got your top two, P. Rodriguez C. Marete left to pit, along with Adrian Jimenez, Giuseppe Asete, Miguel Angel and Danny. Everyone else has come into the pits and done their mandatory pit stop. So they won't need to worry about pitting again. So there will be a straight run to the end for these cars. Peña goes faster again, a 1:16.1. Really trying to pull as much as he can out of that Red Bull. Giuseppe is into the pits now as well. Giuseppe pitting from P5. Very, very large gap though between Giuseppe and the rest of the guys, as we see Asete pop into the pits himself as well. So Miguel will inherit that position there from Asete, and will also get P6 off of Giuseppe on the exit of the pit lane. Danny in the pits as well. We will jump up to Morete. This is the battle for P1. This is Morete versus P. Rodriguez C. This is the battle for the lead. Drivers come through the Variante Alta now on the run down to the hill towards Virovata. Both of these drivers still yet to pit. I will be very, very surprised if you don't see these drivers coming very, very shortly. And I've got a funny feeling that if you see P. Rodriguez C come into the pits, Morete is going to follow him. He doesn't. Morete does not follow P. Rodriguez C into the pits. So Morete now regains the lead of the Grand Prix. Will look to now try and put as much gap between themselves and P. Rodriguez C as possible, as Carlos Feño round the outside into the Tamburello chicane. Carlos Feño takes the lead of the Grand Prix in that Red Bull and has just flown away from Morete in the racing point. So I think the tyre wear is starting to affect Morete now, so we expect to see Morete come into the pits very, very shortly. Saying that, with how long that Morete's run those tyres, Morete could potentially onto the softer compound of tyre, the red wall tyres here, the fastest possible tyre available to these drivers, could make Morete very, very dangerous towards the end of this race. Three drivers still yet to pit as Ivan O makes a move on Jeff for P9. You see that on the top, on the left hand side of the screen there. We are on board with Miguel Angel in 7th place, trying to see if they can close up to the AlphaTauri of Giuseppe. Sorry, we are aboard with Miguel Angel coming up the hill now, as Morete does now come into the pits. Morete pits from 2nd place, 10 laps left in this Grand Prix. Jimenez. Adrian Jimenez also coming into the pits. This should theoretically give P. Rodriguez his second place back, depending on the gap between the two cars. P. Rodriguez does get Jimenez and does get Moretti. So that is P2 now for P. Rodriguez. C. Moretti is now on his way out of the pits. Adrian Jimenez overtaken by Offsprack and Josete, and Miguel Angel dropping down to P7, having pitted from P3. Could come under pressure as well from Cabenza. Cabenza Speed does make the overtake on Adrian Jimenez before he is able to come out into the track. A very, very bumpy across that chicane there. It's not really what you want to do. That can really damage the undertray of a car. So hopefully Adrian Jimenez isn't going to struggle too much from that. We're going to jump to Adrian's teammate Danny. Danny looking to try and hunt down the Red Bull of Acete. This is for P12 in the Grand Prix here. Drivers coming up through Varianti and Villeneuve now up towards Tosa. You can see Robin Schuf just ahead of Acete as well. So this is technically your battle for P11. As the drivers come through, Piratella now running down the hill towards the Acqua Minerale. That's, oh, someone has gone very, very wide there. That's Robin Schuf. Car did not want to turn it into Acqua Minerale there, and Robin Schuf unfortunately dropped all the way down to P14. Overtaken by Acete, Danny and Mugen in the Williams. Hopefully there's not too much, hopefully there's nothing damaged there at Robin Schuf, but we'll jump back up to Danny with DRS, looking to potentially make a move on Acete. Acete moves to the left, moves back into the right, trying to cut the toe as much as he possibly can. Is he going to go for the dive bomb into the Tamburello chicane? Thought about it, did Danny, but wasn't able to make it stick. Acete holds on to P11. But for how long is the question? Danny really looking to look and make this move on the Red Bull here, moving himself up into P11 in the process. See the gap to the leader there, Carlos Peña, with a massive 21-second lead over P. Rodriguez C. After the pit stop, you saw how quickly Carlos Peña was setting fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap, catching up to the cars around him. Moretti now sets the fastest lap, a 1:14.5 by Moretti. So Moretti is now trying to hunt down P. Rodriguez and regain that second place from that Mercedes driver, as we are watching Danny now come down the hill towards the two Ravazza corners here at the end of this lap here in Imola. This is lap number 24 of 31 here at the San Marino Grand Prix. This is LVF1. If you are liking what you are watching from the stream, guys, make sure you hit a follow. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Show the love to LVF1. Want to get involved in the conversation, make sure you use the hashtags rfactor2 and LVF1 to get involved in the conversation on social media. As Jorge does follow the channel, thank you Jorge for that follow, we really do appreciate it, my friend. Danny, coming up towards the Acqua Minerale here. Has lost a little bit of time on Acete now. He's going to have to try and see if he can hunt back. Acete now looking to potentially make a move on Jeff for P10. The last point paying position, of course, in Formula 1. Only the top 10 drivers earning points in Formula 1. As Ivan O goes quite wide through the Rivazzas there. Cabenza Speed and Jimenez exchanging positions. Acete pulls to the left, makes a move around the outside of Jeff going into turn 1. Very, very strong move there by Acete. And now Ivan O is in Acete's sights. Is Acete going to be able to make two very, very quick moves in very, very quick succession? Coming up to the Varianti. Villeneuve now has a look at potentially making a move down the inside, doesn't do so just yet. Drivers coming around now through Tosa. Ivanhoe running quite wide there. Very, very good line by Assetto though. Assetto is getting very, very close now. Could potentially look to make a move into Piratella. Doesn't make it just yet. Coming down the hill now towards the Aqua Minerale. This is where we saw Robin Schuve have a little bit of a moment a few laps ago. No such moments here from either of these drivers. Assetto in the Red Bull, Ivanhoe in the Alpha Tauri here. Coming through the Variante Alta now. Both drivers running wide on the exit there. Assetto coming down the hill now. Miguel Angel losing a couple of positions. He is in the pits. Jimenez gains P6. Cabenta Speed into P7 now. Expect to see Ivanhoe and Assetto potentially make an overtake on Miguel Angel whilst he is in the pits as well. DRS is open from Assetto here, getting very, very close to Ivanhoe. Pulls to the right. He's going to have the outside line coming into the Tamburello chicane, but he is around and makes that move look very, very easy. So in the space of 2 laps, Assetto has moved up from P11 to P8. Technically 3 overtakes if you include the overtake of Miguel Angel whilst he was in the pits. We are on lap number 27 now. 5 laps remaining of this race. Carlos Fenio is your leader. Pete Rodriguez C in the Mercedes, 21.4 seconds behind your race leader, with Moretti looking to potentially make a move on P. Rodriguez C in the very, very near future. We are now watching Jeff, the man currently in 10th place, has got himself to the back of this battle here, with Ivanhoe and Assetto obviously was overtaken by both of these drivers in the last couple of laps or so. Down the hill now into the Ravazzas come these 3 drivers, sorry. Through Ravazza 1 into Ravazza 2. Very, very nice clean line there by Jeff. He's going to potentially get that DRS. Is he going to be able to get close enough to Ivanhoe to make a move though? Ivanhoe obviously will have that DRS on Assetto. I think we're more likely to potentially see Ivanhoe make a move on Assetto. He's not close enough to make the move yet though. So Assetto holds on to P8 as these drivers are coming through the first section, or the first sector, sorry, here in Imola, through the Variante Villeneuve now up towards Tosa. Lap 28 for the leaders. Only 4 laps left now. Baroni Davide down in P15 is a lap down. Robin Schuve potentially a lap down as well. We're going to see a potential overtake here. Very, very good move by Moretti. Makes the move on P. Rodriguez C. That was a move for 2nd place in the Grand Prix. Very, very nice move there by that Racing Point driver of Moretti. And P. Rodriguez C now looking to try and see if he can catch back up to that Racing Point. We did say expect to see Moretti make a move in a laps or so. That move did eventually come. Moretti up into P2 now. 23.2 seconds the gap between the leaders. The gap is slowly closing between Moretti and Carlos Fenio. We're going to jump back now though to Miguel Angel looking to make a move around Mugen on the Bear with me just a second, ladies and gents. There are a few technical issues on the stream side of things. Miguel Angel did make that move on Mugen in the end. Miguel Angel up to P12. It's 2.3 seconds the lead between Carlos Fenio and Moretti as it stands at the moment. P. Rodriguez C though does make that move into the chicane there. Very, very nice move there by the Mercedes. These two are really going back and forth. Currently having to watch through the actual main Twitch stream itself. I have unfortunately lost my feed in the commentary box. So maybe a little bit delayed on commentary in terms of what you guys will be hearing and seeing. But I will be watching it at the same time as yourselves. Pedro Rodriguez C now on the run up to the Variante Alta. Will be under pressure from Moretti. was able to hold on to that position. 29 out of 31 laps completed so far. We have now got our feed back. I can now give you live commentary once again. We're on lap 30. Carlos Venio here. As P. Rodriguez C is under pressure from Morete. Morete on the inside makes that move. That moves Morete up into P2 once again. Very, very good battling here between the Racing Point and the Mercedes drivers here. Very, very strong battling between these guys. Carlos Venio still leads your Grand Prix. 23.1 seconds the gap between Carlos Venio and Morete. Since coming out of the pits, Carlos Venio was a man on a mission trying to catch up to those other cars. Was able to overtake them very, very quickly and was able to move away at a rate of knots. And upon... End. Okay. Yeah, I've got you now. We are on the final lap of the Grand Prix now. Carlos Venio is on the final lap. You're going to see Moretti and P. Rodriguez C now coming onto the final lap themselves. P. Rodriguez C looking to potentially make a move on the Racing Point into that Tamburello chicane. Pulls to the inside. Doesn't look like the move was able to be made, though. We have got yellow flags in sector 1. We're going to jump back to the battle further on. Back here we are with one of the Williams cars. This is the Williams of Jeff, looking to try and see if he can catch up to Ivan O on the run down to Rivazza 1 here. It's very, very close. This is your battle for 9th position. Through Rivazza 2 now, we'll have DRS on the AlphaTauri driver of Ivan O as they now get ready to start their final lap of the Grand Prix. Very, very nice slipstream line there by Jeff round the outside. That moves Jeff up into P9. Very, very strong move there by the Williams driver. Held on to that line very, very well. Ivan O now having a little bit of a challenge as Carlos Venio crosses the line. He is your race winner here at the Imola Grand Prix. Congratulations to the Red Bull driver of Carlos Venio. Very, very confident race win there by your race winner. And Moretti crosses the line to finish in P2. There is P. Rodriguez C finishing in 3rd. That is going to be your podium. Offsprack coming now up to the line. Run up to the line for Offsprack. And there is P4 for the Ferrari driver of Offsprack. Giuseppe in the AlphaTauri finishing in 6th position. The next driver we're expecting to see cross the line is going to be Adrian Jimenez in the McLaren. He crosses the line to finish in P6. Cabenza Speed is going to be your next driver in 7th place. Asete is now coming down the final straight now. In fact, Jimenez has jumped into the pits, having crossed the line. Asete crosses the line now to finish in 8th place. Jeff and... Oh, in fact, Ivan O fell down quite a few positions there. But Jeff does finish in 9th. Miguel Angel into 10th. Danny is going to finish in 11th. Mugen will be finishing in 12th. Ivan O in 13th. Pulls off to the side of the track and jumps into the pin. In fact, that's a DNF for Ivan O. Doesn't cross the line. But I believe because he has raced more than 90% of the race, he will be classified. Ivan O retires from the session just in front of the pit lane entry. Very, very interesting place to retire, especially because you only had another couple of 100 meters or so to travel before you cross the line and actually do get that finish. It's very, very strange there from Ivan O, but well, we digress. Carlos Venio, though, in the Red Bull is your race winner today. We will be back very, very shortly with an. We will be back very, very shortly with a. Well, after an ad break, very, very shortly with the LVF1 post-race show. But your podium here in Imola in reverse order is P. Rodriguez C in third for the Mercedes, Morete in second for the Racing Point team, and your race winner is Carlos Feño there in the Red Bull Osprey. For the Ferrari team, finishing in third, Osprey in fourth, Giuseppe in fifth, Adrian Jimenez in sixth, Cabeza Speed in seventh, Acete in eighth, Jeff in ninth, and Miguel Angel rounds off your top 10. Those are your points finishers here at Imola at the LVF1 round 13 Imola Grand Prix. Whew, that was a very, very entertaining race from my perspective. Hopefully, you guys in the stream did enjoy as well. In fact, we've just found out we are going to go straight into the post-race show. Danny finishing in 11th, Mugen in 12th for the Williams team. Ivano there in 13th, but did not finish. Robin Schoof and Baroni Davide finishing a lap down. And unfortunately, we did lose Jarasai earlier on in the race. But those are your finishes. That is your final standings for this race here in Imola. We will hopefully be getting our drivers to the waiting room very, very shortly. The guys are in the waiting room. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the San Marino Grand Prix post-race show. We're going to start off with our podium interviews. We're going to start off with the man who finished in P2. We're going to run it a little bit differently today, just because Morete has somewhere he needs to be. So we will just pull Morete into the stream room now. Can't move him into stream controls. We're doing Carlos first, or we're doing Morete first? There we go. We have been joined by our P2 driver, Morete. Oh, my friend, welcome into the post-race show. Please talk us through your race.
Very nice podium. It was a tough race. I have a good drive in front of Pablo. Feno was so fast, so it's impossible to catch him. I think I have a tough race, but I do an incredible race. We have a lot of pace, and I think I didn't make any mistake. So I think this second position is very good for me, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, and I would be very, very happy too. You mentioned the battle between yourself and Pablo P. Rodriguez C. You guys were battling back and forth for those last few laps. Very, very top quality racing from both of you there. We're seeing some of the potential overtakes that were made throughout the race on the stream now. Surely it must have got frustrating when he kept overtaking you and you having to take him back. What's going through your mind with those overtakes?
First of all, I think the DRS in Imola is a very incredible machine, because you will have a 0.9 from the behind, and you catch him by far. So it was a very a beautiful battle with Pablo. I think we do incredible racing, and we hope that the next race we can do the same.
Indeed. So next race next week is in Turkey. Over the Turkish Grand Prix, a track you are familiar with, the track you are happy with?
Yeah, I think Turkey is a nice track. In Liga Virtual F1, I think we run in it 4 or 3 times. So it's the first time in 3 seasons, I think, we run in this circuit, so in the track. So I we can we will see how we will see the pace in Turkey, and if it's the same than here in Imola, I think we can fight for the victory almost.
Well, Marete, thank you very much for joining us on the post-race show, and congratulations on that P2, my friend. Hopefully, we will have a chat with you again next week after the Turkish Grand Prix.
Thanks. Nice stream.
Thank you very much.
Ciao.
So that was our P2 driver, Marete from Racing Point. We will now get the third-placed driver into the streaming room. So that will be the Mercedes driver of P. Rodriguez C. So just bear with us a moment while we get Rodriguez in. Here we go. Joined by the third-place driver now, P. Rodriguez C. Pablo, fantastic race from you today. Talk us through your race.
Okay, hi, good day. Yes, a good race for me. A great battle with Marete, and a great race in general.
Indeed, it was. That battle between yourself and Marete went on for many, many laps, constantly jostling for position between the two of you. What's going through your mind when you're constantly being overtaken and you feel that you have to make the overtake yourself? Was there ever a point where you thought, I could get away from Marete? Or were you always looking in your wing mirrors because you knew he was coming behind you?
Only looking in the mirrors. How Marete? I don't think in Feno because he was very faster today. Only looking for mirrors, like for Marete and for off track. That is 10 seconds, but nearly near.
Indeed, it was. So next week we will be in Turkey at the
Yeah.
Turkish Grand Prix for round 14. Is this a track you are comfortable with, a track you're happy with?
I don't I don't know too much the circuit, but with too much train, I think that can be faster in that track and get great battles with Feno and Marete and the rest of the pilots on the road.
Indeed. Well, hopefully we will be able to have a chat with you again next week following the Turkish Grand Prix. Congratulations on your third place today, Pablo, and hopefully we will speak to you again soon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for the retransmission.
No problem. Thank you very much, my friend. And now, ladies and gentlemen, all we have left to do is to bring in our race winner representing Red Bull, Mr. Carlos Feno. Carlos, congratulations on the win. You were just ultimate speed today. Please talk us through your race.
The race today was, I think it had to be a little bit more difficult for us because Maret was pretty fast, also Pablo Rodriguez in the qualifying. But anyways, our pace today was really consistent and fast with the soft compound, and then when we changed the tires to medium compounds, they were struggling with their strategy, I think. It helped us a lot today, the strategy, because I think was pretty fast to start with soft compounds when everybody was in middle compounds and make a big gap before the pit stop.
Indeed, you did make a very strong gap for your pit stop, and then after your pit stop, you did drop down very temporarily to third place, but after your pits, you were setting fastest lap after fastest lap. What is your secret, my friend? How are you so fast?
I don't know how to explain that. I think the most important is trying to do all the time, every time the same lap time without forcing a lot the tires. I think that's my secret. I don't know how I do it, but it's just a big time of doing sim racing and much years trying to improve myself. That's
Indeed, of course,
the biggest.
Consistency is always key, especially in the world of Formula One. So next week we move to round 14 in Turkey. Track you've driven before, a track you're familiar with?
I drove it several times before, but I'm not that fast as Imola in Turkey. But I will try to make another win as today and Portimao. Let's see how the rivals will be, and we can't expect anything right now. We will be there for sure.
That's what we like to hear. Have you in and around the man at the front come the end of the Turkish Grand Prix. All being well, we will be able to have a chat with you again next week in the post-race show from Turkey. But until then, thank you for joining us, Carlos. Congratulations on the race win today, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.
Things like a plan. We're just going to move on, ladies and gents, to get some of the other drivers in, and we will have a look at some of the incidents that we have had so far this evening. Well, it's not this evening, sorry, this morning at the San Marino Grand Prix here at the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari in Imola. Very, very strong race there by all involved. Hopefully not too many dangerous incidents to go through. But we will be watching hopefully some very, very nice overtakes involving some of the drivers around here. What's a problem? So I hope those of you in the chat and on the YouTube video when it goes live enjoyed what we watched here from San Marino. It's my first experience here in LVF1, and I can say I thoroughly enjoyed it. So a massive thank you to the previous commentator, Mr. Andrew Gatton, for getting me involved in everything here in LVF1, and of course to Charles for helping out with all of the things and the running of the stream. Just looking to try and find a few incidents for us to be able to talk about on the stream. As you can see, you have got the F1 2020 calendar on the right hand side of your screen. So next week we will be at the Turkish Grand Prix at Istanbul Park. Should make for some very close battles there. Following that, we will have the Bahrain Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. 3 weeks we will be in Sakir. And we finish off the season at the end of May in Abu Dhabi. So the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix around the world famous Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. We're just trying to scrub through and find a few incidents for us to be able to talk about here in this Grand Prix. We have been joined in the comms box by the previous regular commentator, very good friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Gatton, if Andrew is here.
Hello there.
Hello there. How are you, my friend? How was
Doing
the
great.
race from your perspective?
Yeah, it was very clean, surprisingly. Got a couple of incidents, obviously, and that's why I'm here. Chat about. Obviously, Charles is just trying to find them and bookmark them just now for us to be able to see them. Yeah, from our perspective, we were trying something out today, and all the feedback we've had is it's been very good. A lot of the drivers were saying it was very professional the way we were running it, and yeah, they said they were very happy to see this happen again. So hopefully with a decision from all the stewards, this will be something that happens more often. It may be tracks that are more track limit heavy. Obviously, you may have saw during the race and during the different practice sessions and qualies that I was calling out to drivers that were doing track limits, exactly the ones that you guys were watching, so that we had a driver's eye view on every incident. Therefore, it can be easily reviewed mid-race. We also saw, you would have probably seen me calling out to the drivers. For example, there was a time that Baroni David ran wide and bumped himself over the Variante Alta chicane, came out of the Variante chicane, and he was faster on his time. I told him to slow down, and he slowed down. Robin Schuff did exactly the same. He was up on his time, but he went track limits through Ravazza 1. He then had to slow down before the line, therefore, to not go faster on his time. But he did manage to get he actually went fast in the time he was going to post a few laps later. So it all worked out well for him in the end. And he had a fantastic race today for his second weekend here.
Did indeed. Yeah,
Okay.
let's load them up, Charles. Let's have a look at them.
So, Charles, if I remember rightly, this was the incident we were talking about mid-race. That was it was a Ferrari that went off track around about turn 3.
So it was Jarosai going into the first chicane after Tamburello.
Right. Okay, let's
Got
go
that
then.
on stream now.
So he hits his lines through here, and Ivan, I do believe that was Ivan O.
So there's
Can we maybe
Alpha off at the
Yeah.
top of your picture right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then so Ivan is spun round, misses the Williams, and then just goes forward straight into Jarosai.
Yeah, and Jarosai couldn't do anything. He was even off track at the time. So that would be an incident that we are going to be looking at in the steward's office. Good thing was it wasn't an unsafe rejoin, but at the same time, he moved on track in a position where he couldn't go. So let's watch this. So he takes Tamburello.
He just goes
He goes
wide and
completely
spins it
wide.
himself.
Spins it himself, nearly takes out Danny, and then reverses on track.
Takes out the Alpha.
Takes out the Alpha, and then takes out the Ferrari. So that's 2 incidents in one. They'll both be reviewed the same way. You know, obviously watching this follow-up thing, he did go wide. He made the mistake. He narrowly missed Danny, I think that was, which is very close. I mean, that's like less than a meter away from taking Danny out of the race. And he nearly lost it even more coming out of here. But let's continue watching. So he comes through. Yeah, Kieran, what do you think of this incident? Do you think he should be given a serious penalty for this?
I mean, it was definitely. He's definitely lost control on the exit of the Tamburello chicane. As we watch,
he comes in.
We watch.
He had a very fast line.
Yeah, he's lost it through the exit of the chicane there.
He then reverses on track, takes out the Alfa Romeo.
I think that's the thing that's concerning me, in the fact that he's reversed on track. Surely, from the position that he was in, it would have been better to continue to accelerate with a fast spin, and then right themselves that way. It's a very, very interesting decision by Ivan to rejoin the track in the way that he has.
So yeah, let's watch it from the Alfa Romeo's point of view. So obviously Alfa Romeo just comes through the corner. Doesn't have anything he can do. It was more netcode, but you do see the car actually physically hits him. I think he does end up managing to get through okay. He slowed him down enough to get into the next corner. But, you know, there's nowhere he can go. If he goes off track there, he dies. If he stays on track, he dies. There's nowhere. There's that little gap. Look at that. It rips his side pods, and there's nothing he can do, unfortunately. I think it was just very careless from Ivan that race to make that happen. But yeah, you just see he manages to control the car very nicely. Tokyo drifts
Very,
it.
very nice. Very, very nice control there by that Alfa Romeo driver to prevent that car from going into the wall.
The good thing is he actually instantly switches back the car when he can because he knows it's slippier there. If he turns the wheel, he'll be able to get it going. Keeps the car running and then still manages to take the corner. So very nicely done there from Kabiza to to not have that calamity. So yeah, so that incident on Ivan there is going to be probably viewed by myself and the stewards this week. And yeah, I mean it's a pretty serious incident because he takes out two cars and causes serious damage to one of them. I mean Jarasai, he then had to retire from the race because of the damage. So we will review the incident as more than that. Right. So we've got have we got any more incidents to review?
No more incidents, but we've got overtakes.
Oh, we've got overtakes.
Let's have a look at some of the fantastic overtakes that we have had throughout today's Grand Prix. Quite a few of these overtakes will have happened on the run up to the Tamburello chicane and through Piratella, which I think we're going to see our first overtake here through Piratella.
That was such a nice move. I remember watching it live on the stream when it happened, and I was in awe. It was a fantastic move there, and that was by the new guy, Adrian, who just, look at this, just puts it nicely on the inside. He uses track limits perfectly there. He doesn't go off track at all. He takes it through Aqua Minerale, doesn't go off track again. He actually slides the car into there, which is very common with the low camber change last minute. The car will bottom out and slide a little bit. So we'll watch this again. Is this from the Ferrari's point of view? So let's see how clean this move is. So he comes up on the inside line, and he just knew the Ferrari had nothing he could do there to defend. And yeah, it was very nicely done from the McLaren driver.
It was indeed the Ferrari driver there, just a sitting duck to the overtake of Adrian Jimenez there. A very, very strong overtake there by Adrian Jimenez in that McLaren car.
Definitely. Fantastic move there from himself. And yeah, so just then he managed to keep the car on track. So if you want to rewind to that point there, because I want to talk about what we did at Varianti Alta today, especially in qualifying. So just maybe slow it down and we watch as they come in. Now, it didn't necessarily matter about what you did on the chicane. So here, you could cut it whatever way you want because you weren't going to gain any time from it. Because either way, if you were hitting that at 200 kilometers an hour, you're launching yourself into the barrier no matter what. But the car here, so he's really leaning on the right side of the car here just to make sure it turns in. Now, this technically isn't a curb, but he runs on the track limits here. We let him off with this. I was reviewing quite a lot of these already today, and we let quite a lot of them off because they were running onto the track limits. We used the track limits all the way to the curbs in this championship, and because that's still kind of classed as a curb, we have to review it as if the half the car goes over that, then the car has to, that's a time deletion in quali and could potentially mean that the driver has to slow down in the race. So yeah, we had a few people in quali that we had to do that to. Some drivers didn't abide by those rules and will be reviewed after the race. Obviously, we can't make any changes or anything right now due to the fact that it's only myself doing all this stuff, and it wouldn't be fair. So we will be reviewing these incidents after the race, and I'll be placing these under investigation myself, and we'll watch all through and see where it goes. But I think that's all I have time for just now. Obviously, there wasn't many incidents, and yeah, it was the cleanest race. yeah, I mean, there's more overtakes, but I mean, unfortunately for me, my job is done. So I actually, unfortunately, do have to go and disappear. I have to go and make a phone call and do some other bits and bobs. But yes, thank you for having me in the comments box again. I missed it this week, but definitely this thing that we're doing now, I think it's working, and hopefully we manage to keep it going. So I will catch you guys later, and thank you for watching us go through all those incidents and enjoy the overtakes.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining us, and I hopefully will speak to you again very soon, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Definitely. See you later.
Watching on stream now some more of the fantastic overtakes that we had. This was Carlos Fenno taking the lead of the race around the outside of Moretti into the Tamburello chicane. So there quite a few moves were made into this chicane. We will now watch this is from Moretti's onboard, which we weren't initially watching on the stream. So just watch as Carlos Fenno appears from pretty much out of nowhere and takes the line very, very well there. And from that moment, that Red Bull had just gone. Red Bull enters rocket ship mode on the exit of the Tamburello chicane. You can see how close these drivers are to each other. Sure, Charles will be able to slow this down and get us a lovely little view here. So you can see in the wing mirror there of Moretti now appearing on screen to the right hand side is the Red Bull of Carlos Fenno. Takes the apex of the corner a little bit close to Moretti there. No contact from either driver, which is what we like to see. Carlos Fenno did shut the door to a degree on Moretti, which is what caused Moretti to then run wide out of the exit of the Tamburello chicane, but was able to hold that pretty well in that racing point. But obviously by that point, Carlos Fenno had very much gone and was in rocket ship mode. If we can, we'll have a look at some of the overtakes between P. Rodriguez C and Moretti. We did just see one there on the run up to that first corner. These two guys, as we did mention in the post-race interviews, had a very, very good battle all the way through the race, especially for the last few laps. Constantly back and forth with one another. Moretti did mention that the DRS is very, very strong here at Imola. You can make a lot of time, which is why you saw the majority of our overtakes take place on the run up to that first chicane. I'm going to look at an incident involving Robin Schoof here. Going to have a look at an overtake it involving the Renault driver of Robin Schoof. Through the Variante Villeneuve, around through Tosa, up through Piratella, through the Acqua Minerale, up to the Variante Alta, and then down through the Ravazzas. Watching a lap a little bit quicker than we would do in real time, but here we go. You can see now Robin getting close to of the other cars here. When we get a little bit closer, we will work out exactly which car that is. That Robin was looking to make a move, and again, it was on the run. It was one of the Williams cars. Again, on that run into that Tamburello chicane. Lots and lots of overtakes happening through that section of the track, just showing how important it is to get DRS through that section of the track. How important it is to stay within a second of that car ahead. Now we're going to be able to see this from the Williams' point of view. Just so I am aware, Charles, which Williams is this that we will be watching the onboard of?
We are currently on
Jeff.
board with Jeff.
There we go. So it is Jeff in the Williams car moving
And
off
this
to
is
his
Mugen.
teammate now. We're watching Mugen. He goes a little bit, has a little bit of a moment. That was when we had the moment in the Aqua Minerale section there. Very, very well to hold onto the car. Loses the back end. You get ready to take the second part of Aqua Minerale there. Does very, very well hold onto the car there and not end up in the wall. We do see Robin Schoof have a similar sort of incident into that same corner throughout the race as well. Robin does end up losing a few positions from running a little bit too deep into Aqua Minerale there.
All I've got. That's about it.
Okay, and there we go, and that's all we have. Yep. And so that, ladies and gents, was your San Marino Grand Prix. Very, very good, strong racing by all drivers involved. That is all of the overtakes we think that we've got to be able to show on stream this evening, or this morning, I should say, sorry, as we move into the afternoon here in the United Kingdom. Watching a few more onboards on the stream, giving you guys a little bit of stuff to watch as we look to wrap up the post-race show here at round 13 in the LVF1 Championship. As we said, we will be live from Turkey next week at the Turkish Grand Prix. Massive thank you, as always, to Charles and Andrew Gadden for, as I say, getting myself involved. This was, of course, my LVF1 debut. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed what you have watched today. And all being well, you'll be joining us next week at the Turkish Grand Prix at Istanbul Park. That is the race calendar for the rest of the season. 4 races left to go now. The Turkish Grand Prix next week, followed by 2 races in Bahrain. We have the Bahrain Grand Prix and the Sakir Grand Prix before we round off the season at round 17 in Abu Dhabi. But I think that, unfortunately, is all we have time for today. So massive, massive thank you to all of you for watching the race today. And until next time, this has been Kieran Wright and Charles DeGay signing off from the San Marino Grand Prix in LVF1. Thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.